From Toronto, Canada, welcome to the 6th Annual FIVARS Awards.
All right, so thank you all very much for being here. FIVARS 2020 was, of course, an extraordinary year. We were able to work with some incredible programmers to create a virtual world where we were able to stream the 28 360 films that we showcased this year, and also the interactive virtual reality and augmented reality experiences that were hosted alongside. The awards look at a series of categories that we thought had a certain distinction in forwarding that aspect of the medium, and what we're here to do is, of course, to test new boundaries and see what we can learn from them. A thank you to our sponsors. Of course, these are different companies or individuals who support us in whatever way they can to help us to keep this process going, and we are deeply indebted to them for their ongoing faith in us. Stephanie is going to help me present the awards today. Steph.
This year's award categories include Excellence in Visual Design, Excellence in Sound Design, Excellence in Experience Design, Technical Achievement, Impact Award, People's Choice Award Best Passive Experience, as well as Best Interactive Experience, and our final award, Grand Jury Prize. So the first award is Excellence in Visual Design. Do we have a drum roll? And the winner is
Hominidae by Brian Andrews.
Hominidae depicts an ecosystem of X-ray visibility. Creatures have evolved in surprising ways where humans, birds, spiders, and frogs share unique anatomies. This experience follows an arachnid hominid, an intelligent creature with human and spider physiology, as she struggles to raise her young in a hostile environment.
All right. Brian spent 3 years developing this piece, and it was based on an art show that he had developed. Congratulations to Brian. Thank you for this really outstanding piece. We hadn't seen anything like this. And we also were amazed by the sound design in the piece, where the actors' bodies were used to create most of the soundtrack. This brings us to the excellence in sound design. And of course, in this medium, we're talking about ambisonic audio. We're talking about creative uses of spatialized audio. How can it tell a story on its own, really? And when we were building the space, we had to factor in all the different codecs that can exist and how to slice them up and use them in a sort of spatialized context on the web. So, Steph?
The winner is Symphony of Noise VR, director Michaela Nichikova. Immerse yourself in a world of exploration of sonic landscapes in this high-end spatial sound design experience. Here you can make, hear, see, and feel sound in a way not possible before, and compose your score.
I particularly enjoyed this scene in the grocery store where you're flinging shopping carts and bottles through the air and creating sort of funnels of sound, or being able to breathe into a tunnel to cause it to create musical textures. really amazing multi-use of the VR headset as an input method for making musical experiments. Congratulations.
And the next award is Excellence in Experience Design.
Experience Design Award is given to an interactive experience that synthesizes the various different ways in which we can engage with a piece. So Stephanie, who is the winner of...
The winner is Sleeping Eyes by So Jung Bong and Sung Yun Lee.
Sleeping Eyes uses biometric monitors to change the flickering of lights, the pacing of the edit, to try to reflect the experience of a man living with narcolepsy, straddling reality and the dream time. And they use the analogy of quantum mechanics and having two states, and one which is actualized through attention. So we really felt that this piece found a new way to create that sense of estrangement and alienation. And in fact, the director spoke to me at FIVARS about how she sort of rejects the notion of empathy through VR, because that implies that you're feeling or experiencing what somebody else can, where in fact she wants to demonstrate how difficult it is to sit in somebody else's shoes by giving you an experience that shows you what that kind of alienation would feel like or appear like.
So the next award is Technical Achievement.
So technical achievement, of course, when everybody in this medium is essentially a walking technical achievement, is something that really broke through the wall and created something that is important for everybody, I think. In past years, we have seen people using volumetric capture, light field, 3D printing, MRIs, foot and hand tracking, all kinds of interesting things to really just sort of break new ground. So that's what this award typically is for. Steph, who's the winner?
Dun, dun, dun. The Cosmic Laughter of Kuchibanaka, directed by Jonathan Sims.
Wow.
Who I can see is a little ghost over there with popcorn.
Hey.
Hey, do you want to come up here, Jonathan?
Yeah, absolutely.
You forgot
Hello.
your popcorn.
No, it's with me in spirit. Thank you.
So Jonathan, we come towards the center a little bit if you can. Yeah, perfect. So, we had a conversation during FIVARS, actually two of them. The first one was from a creative standpoint, but the second one was really drilling down into the process and the pipeline that you'd created for this very difficult piece. Do you want to just give them a quick summary of what it was that you were developing here?
Yeah, I wanted to experiment with higher resolution stereophotography in 360, as well as developing a pipeline for volumetric depth kit stuff in kind of a more sophisticated package like Nuke, and see what I could do with that. And it was, I worked with DevKit closely, and I kept on running into these, not walls, but they were like, oh, no one's done this. And I was like, oh, that means I get to do it. It means there's a problem to solve, which is actually a really good place to be, I think, when you're making something, especially kind of a challenging art piece. So it was full of problems to solve, which is, I think, again, a great place to be. David Bowie said that you should always, the best place to be creatively is when your feet are barely touching the floor and you're almost underwater, but not quite. And that's kind of what this project felt like the whole time. So.
Amazing. Well, we were super impressed by the way in which you were trying to push the envelope with macro photography and being able to shoot a subject up very close, which is difficult to do in spherical video, let alone stereoscopic. And by using Depth Kit to be able to give you that improved stereoscopy while pulling off this macro and understanding the interpupillary distance considerations was just an amazing feat.
Yeah, thanks. It has gotten easier. I'm working on a project now that technology has beat what I just did. So, that's what happens.
Well, and you're a pioneer, so we salute you. And thank you so much for being here, Jonathan.
Yeah, thanks again, FIVARS and Keram and Stephanie and everybody. Bye.
We will mail you your box of mints shortly.
Yeah.
I don't have a cane to pull people off the stage.
It's okay. We launch them out of a chicken cannon, I think is what we typically do.
So the next award we have is the Impact Award.
Okay, so Impact, of course, is a piece that will invariably change your point of view on something. It will challenge your expectations, ideology, assumptions, and leave you to reflect sincerely on what you've witnessed. And every year that we've had this award, I think back to the piece about ICE coming to get illegal immigrants, or last year where they put you in the first person perspective of somebody who is being kept in a cage in an authoritarian fascist regime where both sides are being pitted against each other. Every year the Impact Award really looks at the hard questions and uses the medium to its fullest to transform our perspective on something in a way that only this medium can. So Steph, who wins the Impact Award in 2020?
Dun, da, da, da. Indirect actions.
Maranatha Hay.
The 360 feature film follows the social media-driven outrage over the Dakota Access Pipeline. She travels to the icy prairie of North Dakota only to discover the dangers of the single-minded perspective and some surprising unintended consequences of internet activism.
Yeah, what really blew my mind when I watched this piece was you go in with a certain expectation, an expectation of a political view, and quickly the authors are unseated from that point of view when they go to the actual location and realize that this story that's being told in social media is very different than the reality. And they suddenly don't know how to represent the subject because everything that they know is being appended, and they have to listen to all sides to better understand really what the truth is. And it left my head completely spinning. This piece sold out the Dome in downtown LA, but FIVARS was the first to show this as a 360 experience online. And so we were very grateful to them for reformatting it as a 360 film that could be watched. And from a technical standpoint, the panoramas of the frozen plains of North Dakota and the open format of the frame kind of implied that you could see all sides, all perspectives at the same time. And I just thought it was an incredibly powerful synergy of medium and message.
Our next two awards are voted on by the people. So the first award is for Best Passive Experience.
Warsaw Rising, directed by Tomasz Dworek. Warsaw Rising tells a story based on the fate of a Warsaw insurgent who received a note with a message from his daughter when he was leaving to fight in the uprising in August 1944. At the time, he did not know yet that the note would influence his further fate.
Beautiful. Well, I won't comment on this. I mean, it's a wonderfully wrought piece, but this is the people's choice. So the people loved Warsaw Rising. Congratulations to all of the filmmakers. Which will bring us to the people's choice for Best Interactive Experience. In past years, this award has gone to Alteration, Museum of Symmetry, Pearl, and In 2019, it went to David Hahn's After Dan Graham, which had people wearing foot and head trackers and playing with previous versions of themselves, much to the delight of the audience. And this year's award for Best People's Choice Best Interactive goes to Gravity by director Fabito Richter and Amir Admani.
Yay!
Hey, congratulations. Why don't you come up here, come up onto the stage?
Of course.
So you are the people's choice. Don't step on your dress. All right, perfect. if you come up here, perfect. And then just like right center into the camera. Awesome. So yeah, we spoke to these fine gentlemen during FIVARS and about the process and how you created your own motion capture system. And you brought your animation background to create this really extraordinary, whimsical piece.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. It's really nice to.
Yeah, I think people's choice is usually the thing I consider the most because it's an unbiased voting system. I think, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had on social media people coming out of the show saying that Gravity was one of the best VR pieces that they'd ever experienced. And so there was clearly a public connection there. And I think it's a really important thing that besides all of the weird experiments and the things that we are interested in at FIVARS, that we're also connecting that to the public and that the public is resonating with it. And so you made it a piece that's, obviously accessible and landing with that public audience.
Yeah, we were worried about it during the whole process. We wanted to be in a stage that we could reach them. At the same time, we could get across some boundaries. So we're really glad about this award.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a pity that we couldn't interact with them because we would love to hear what they have to say, the audience.
Well, and in fact, I know that in the original experience, like as we mentioned, you have people hanging in a papasan chair with a fan blowing underneath them. So, it's even more interactive than what we were able to afford people. But what's great actually is that it still got across even without hanging somebody in a chair with a fan blowing at them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So congratulations to you. I really, really appreciate this piece.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for the festival and everything. Keram, Stephanie, and all the crew. Thanks a lot.
Oh, we appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Congrats.
Yeah.
We'll send you your laurels, and we'll send you a box of sardines.
Great.
High-quality sardines. All right, so I think this brings us
final
to
award.
the end, Steph. Oh, my goodness.
It does.
Listen, before we do this, I just want to say thank you again to the FIVARS team, meaning Stephanie, and of course, all the other people who helped us. There's Chrissy Aitchison, who works in our head office and helps us keep everything nice and tidy. Jennifer Chadwick, who is our accessibility officer, and she made sure that we were conforming to all accessibility considerations and implementing those things where possible in all of our websites and all of our design, and it's something that we continue to explore. Of course, we want to thank James Baikanayu, who is our lead developer. We want to thank Jin. We want to thank Hunter Fox, who helped us to develop the 3D online world. And we want to thank Kent Bai, who has spoken about our work and helped to document the story of creating a festival like this, and everybody in the community who has really supported us and amplified the message and helped us to keep going. We're profoundly grateful to you, and we truly feel like everybody in this is in it together. Okay, so, my friend.
The final award of this evening is the Grand Jury Prize. And the winner for the Grand Jury Prize this year is Minimum Mass by Reiki Syed and Reto Echevarria.
Love, Loss, and Black Holes, Minimum Mass is the story of a couple who experience a series of miscarriages and come to believe their children are being born in another dimension. Set in contemporary New Zealand and in the speculative world of black holes.
Often the grand jury catches people by surprise because it's trying to hit so many different points and vectors that, it might not be the popular vote or it might not be the obvious one, but it does something overall that really pulls together all of the elements. And last year we had a piece called The Industry, which was a way of looking at the maps of drug crime throughout the Netherlands and following those volumetric maps down into volumetrically captured performance stories, vignettes. And it was just an outstanding piece. And this is a hard one, but Minimum Mass truly represents the best of this medium. In this piece, you experience a series of small, beautifully crafted dioramas that are telling the story of a couple who are having difficulty conceiving. They fall in love, they fall apart, they miscarry, and a black force continues to envelop them as they struggle to find love. But the fact that you can grab these dioramas and drag them around to look into different rooms and hear the different audio respectively, to pull the floor up or the floor down and see all the different parts of the story as it's unfolding. And the way that it uses space, there's one scene where they're jogging around in a circle through midair and slowly spiraling down until they touch the ground. It's just so beautifully theatrical and cinematic, and at the same time, it feels like nothing else. I remember when Battlescar won this award, and it was no question that it was using scope and scale and size and color and dimension and the Z-axis as methods to tell the story. And this year, Minimum Mass really, really took that to another level. So I think that this represents, all of these pieces and all of the pieces in FIVARS this year. I want to talk about Walking Past Abandoned Houses. I think of Eric, which is about small town America and how it's dealing with the opioid crisis and poverty. And I want to talk about The Echo of Fire and how it captures an important ritual that's been going on in Spain in a way that we might not be able to experience again. Or the Arbaeen Walk, which looks at the 25 million person march that happens in Iraq every year. All of these pieces are absolutely extraordinary and made by people who are far, far braver than I will ever be. So I just really appreciate your work, and I really hope that we can continue to showcase it for as long as possible. And thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.